Hey YouTube, it's been a while. I thought I'd start keeping a nice little work blog from the workshop here. I've got myself a little webcam and a computer that can actually handle recording from it now. So quite happy about that. Things are moving along. There's a rack behind me here of stuff that's still in the works. So we'll hopefully see some results from that in the next week. Of course there's animatronics testbed there, Mirror, who's going to be worked on progressively for God knows how long. I've got some ideas there, but I'll go into those about another video. Today I've been casting horns again, and already demoulded a couple of them. Got a nice set here. I believe these ones are the number 3s. They've got to do a little more drying in air before I can apply the varnish to them. They're doing a low light wash on them. It's just a spray paint of colour on them, and then you wipe it off and it just fills in all the low areas of the horn, all the grooves and so on, and just gives them that, makes them pop, it's a very simple, very cheap, quick and easy way of making them appear a lot more lifelike. Of course you can do that yourself. A lot of people do some much more detailed work. This is just a bare bones basic arrangement. But what I really wanted to show today is these horns I've been doing up for an order. Invoice number 8084, if you recognise yourself. Lovely 2 pairs of horns in the lovely standard pink colour. I do lovely baby pink, I feel. It's usually used for, say, paw pads, noses, that sort of soft tissue stuff. But in this case they're going on a big pink dragon, so lovely. And you see here these freshly demoulded. I'm just going to demould them because I thought you might find it interesting to see how pull them out. I'm not going into the whole casting process just yet, but here we have the number 4 horns. Those ones there were number 8s, by the way. These number 4s are currently held in their fiberglass jackets. That just keeps the thin silicone sort of sock, the glove mould, rigid into its correct shape. So just pull them apart. So I want to take the clips off them. There we have the actual silicone mould, and you see it looks a weird sort of purple colour. That's because to make sure I got a proper coat on it, I was alternating between colours of silicone, alternating between red fast and blue slow, so it took a little bit longer like that. But start by peeling it back. This is just a tin cure silicone, it's not one of the very stretchy ones. If I'm going to do this again, I will probably move up to a platinum cure silicone, possibly even dragon skin. I'm not sure I'll get the full benefit from it, but being able to stretch it a little more without worry would probably be a good thing. You just got to tease it up around, just move your hand up, make sure your hands are clean of course, otherwise you get transfer marks onto them. Not that they're sticky or anything, you just don't want dirt from the workshop dust and that being pressed into it. The stuff does take sort of hours and hours to get fully hardened. Just ease it up, and off the tip. Detail looks good. Got a flake there from the base. Grain looks okay. And I just hold it up to the lamp here. This is just a simple little halogen lamp. Just hold it up to it. Because they're mostly filled with foam, as you can see the foam plug, the wastage area, that gets cut off before postage. Just lightens it, tidies it up, gets the postage cost down just a fraction. Just got to turn this back the right way around, because unfortunately this stuff, if you do leave it in a deformed shape, it will eventually deform, and you get strange indentations or folds or what have you in the finished items. So it goes in there. In there, just to keep it square. Clip back on, just a couple of little bulldog clips, and that's done. Now I just do the other one. If you don't know how these are done, I've described it a few times in here and there, but no real central official way, I suppose. These are basically slush cast, meaning you take the resin and tip the mould around, trying to get it coat all the insides. The way I do it is I use the bare basic, the actual just like the raw fast cast resin on the first coat. Then I do a second coat once that's set. The second coat contains calcium carbonate, which acts as a it improves the impact resistance and just strengthens it up as a thicker inner coat. So that way you get the raw basic urethane gets into all the little nooks and crannies of the surface detail, and then the carbonate layer reinforces it. You can get some interesting effects if you change the colours between them, but it's very hit and miss, so I don't really recommend it. And then of course you get the rigid foam filler, which I also put a bit of pigment in just to bring it closer, but it's very seldom you can see it through. I think we're all okay here. We've got one very tiny bubble in the surface there, but nothing that should notice, I should think. We're talking something that's less than a millimetre, so I like to know. I like to be aware of them, but I think that's a safe bet that that's going to be all right. Once again, we turn the sock of the back the right way round. I'm very happy with that shade pink. I've been trying to reproduce it with silicone pigments because I've been working on new paw pads. I've sold a couple of the early sets. Just shaking it out. So I need to fish for the tip of it. Sold a couple of the rough early sets at an interim price, because I found some lovely silicone, and I've been working, experimenting with fiberglass molds, direct-to-fiberglass molds, and they're working out very nicely. In fact, I've got samples here. These ones didn't go fantastically. You can see those ones there. That's the large finger pad size, about the size of a thumbprint. So I know these are the small ones. What am I talking about? These are the small ones. They'd be best for, say, with an anthropomorphic, pseudo-realistic suit. If you're going to do, say, fursuiting, that is. I've been trying to work out ways of making good something, an analogue of the animal, but in a human form factor. So here we have these with the canine anthro style rather than animal style. Animal style would of course be a full-size canine styled pad, palm pad, whereas the anthro style ones just go across the bridge of the hand like that. Now, I don't think I've got any of the ball of the hand pads, which I need to come up with a better name. Calling them ball pads is a bit iffy. But generally you would have a bridge pad across the bridge of the palm, and two large pads there and there, or just one if you so choose. And it just gives that flexibility and allows you to get better grip things all. The wonderful thing about this is a silicone rubber called Silskin 10. It's special effects grade. It's so skin safe. You can actually apply it in its raw, uncured state directly to skin and peel it away afterwards. It's that safe to use. And so I'm very happy to provide this for paw pads and so forth, or will be, once I get the moulds finished up. The moulds, one or two of the moulds are kind of a little bit squiffy, and while I can use them if I'm careful, I would rather just get the moulds in their perfect condition before I start actually advertising them properly. But the Silskin stuff is marvellous because it's got... I built a small vacuum forming machine and took textures off some very nice leather, and I used the vacuum former to suck them down around a smooth mould, then took a fiberglass mould from that, and it's a little bit involved in process, but if you can see the detail, if I can get the light to glint on that, if you switch to HD mode, I'm sure you can see the texture on there is amazing. I'm really happy with the way it's come out. Because it's been done on a vacuum form with really stretchy silicone as for the texture originally, it hasn't got any wrinkles in it, it hasn't got any of that, but it's still soft. It's still soft and squishy, and it's lovely, and the texture allows you to grip things, which is a wonderful thing. If you ever use something like a fake leather pad, then you know that it's smooth, it's slippery. You can't, say, hold a glass. You've got to take gloves off, and it can ruin an illusion of the way it all works out. These ones, of course, are damaged. This has a bubble in it, but of course, would never sell those. At least not full price. I might sell these as a factory seconds sort of arrangement. But generally, they've got enough grip to them you can pick up a smooth object. And I've got, during the clean out, I have found up to 9 cans of instant coffee. So you wonder why I've been working so hard. Fine, it's not going anywhere. I can't even push it out my own hand, but I mean, of course that's, you don't know how hard I'm gripping it, so once it's fully cured up, it's nice and strong. It doesn't tear. I mean, I have a sample back here. This is one of the original prototype feline anthropads. Is a pink one there. So this one here is a failed design because it had between the sort of lobes there, it was just too sharp a transition. I've corrected that now, but this one was just cast without any backing. All these are, by the way, are cast onto fleece backing material, so they can either be sewn or glued in place, because you put them on the ends of the curing, they'll soak into one side but they won't soak into the other, so you've still got plenty of material there for glue to soak into should you so choose. Wouldn't recommend it personally. Sewing, it's much more reliable. But one of the reasons I started doing this was because I disliked seeing people gluing things in place, and then people will be out having a wonderful time and then realise half their costumes fallen to bits, and it's, please, just sew things in place, it's a lot easier. Anyway, this is a sample of that. This one has a very slight tear in it where I've cut some bits away there, but it's very stretchy. Even without its backing material, it's probably going to break just there, I suspect, because it does have a tear in it from, that's the scalpel, isn't it, when I was cutting the flashing off it. But oh no, it's going all right. No, still alright. It's very stretchy anyway. Cleaning it, soap and water. Don't use any harsh bleaches or anything with an abrasive surface. You will eventually abrade away the pattern. But yeah, just soap and water and you'll be fine with it. Fine. Let's see though, I have one more set here. Is the number 6s. Just demold those quickly. I actually have dinner inside. It's quite late at night. But I thought you'd like to see this. I thought you might appreciate a little more interaction with me. I'm hoping I will be able to do a video talking about the specifics of each horn I produce individually, and again, basically a product video for every item I do as I get around to them and as I refresh them. I am working on redesigning the claws I used to sell. I used to sell claws. I'm trying to make cupolas for the fingers, and mostly it's worked out now, but I was having a devil of a time finding a pre-formed shape that would be good to take a master from, and that looks alright up against the lamp. Just looking at the camera, making sure I haven't gone out of frame. Look at this, probably the monitors over there. Yeah, the tip has a very slight. The tip is light because that's got the raw. I keep calling it the raw. It's probably not the right term for it, but has the tip is almost solid, plain polyurethane fast cast. Then there's a plug of much more. Does not transmit light through as well. Rather. Look at my words now. It's not good. But yeah, there's no unusual light spots on that one, so that looks like it's a good casting. Once again, turn the sock back around. I'm hoping that I should be able to do some nice ones at some point to show off some other special fillers. I've still got some ultraviolet reactive powders in there, some very fine ones. They don't settle out, so you get a nice even colour. But I'm really hoping to do that with the pads here. In fact, due to an accident, we do have a stripe in that one, you can make out there. That stripe is a little bit of a very light pink. So unfortunately, those horns are the standard pink that I do, the little cat's nose pink. But I haven't quite managed to reproduce it in the silicone one. The silicone one is it's a lot lighter. In fact, it looks a bit sickly almost. But yeah, a drag of that got left in that mould when I put the black in. I didn't notice until I took it out, so it ruined that casting for me. So I had to use plain black ones. But I was surprised how well it bonded to it. A lot of silicons, they will bond to each other, but they will do so at a limited degree once they've cured. But in this case, it seems like it's cured pretty nicely, at least quick, not without much time between them. So I'm hoping I might be able to actually paint designs into pads, possibly. Obviously, that'd be quite an involved service, but just get some syringes with some silicone and the right pigment in, paint them into the mould in a thin layer so they don't have any mass to spread out with, and then backfill the moulds the background colour, and that looks good. Now these plain white ones, they're going to need at least a few hours just to get to the air, because when it's first hardened, the urethane it's quite absorbent for paint. So if I paint them now, it will get very harsh contrast between the upper and lower ridges. So best it's for me to leave that till tomorrow, which means I won't be able to post them until Monday. I'm sorry about that for the commissioner, but you'll notice the difference. You really will. So unfortunately, it will be a case of the highlights will be very highlight. They'll be very bright. It will wipe right off. And the dark bits will be very dark. Really, it would look like a zebra. It really would. It's just these little things you got to keep an eye out for. Just got to keep an eye out for them. But anyway, that's I shall show you one more thing before I sign off for the evening. Where are we? This is the current best guess for the cupolas for the new claws. It's not big. It's only about 18mm internal there. It fits on my fingers all right. I tried it on a couple of other people and they seem to be all right with this. Unless you've got very, very large fingers, it should be all right. The thumb, of course, it doesn't fit on. That's really rather uncomfortable. But I have found another item here which should provide for the form for a thumb. It fits in there quite well. That does mean I'll be having to produce sets with mixed claws. Previously they've all been identical, you can mix and match. In this case though, it will be a case of you need to order, say, this many main fingers and this many thumbs to get a match set. So I'm sorry about it, but it should give better results. Just a little bit more forethought, better results. That's the way it works. Hopefully that should work out well. Anyway, as and when events go on, I'll try and keep a little more work log of this, the end of day stuff. Won't do any long blogs about actually doing casting, and here I am mixing this, sitting here counting the numbers. But I will do more these blogs as and when, and as I say, more product videos, little talks about. So any more, I used to use this channel, put up little videos of experimental stuff like the glow powder tests and so forth. So you'll probably see some more of that as well. Anyway, thank you and good night.